Can I check team news? How is everybody? Because we wondered about your skipper. Is he going to be fit?
No, Ben won't be fit yet. He's making progress. Still a bit to go, I think. The others a bit more long-term, Johan and the like. Vids could get around it. He played 60 minutes in a game the other day. Still needs more football, ideally, but we're not in the ideal world at the minute, so we'll hopefully get him around it.
A lot's been written and said already about this game. Bearing in mind where you both are and bearing in mind the points difference, maybe not a must-win, but possibly a must-not-lose. Can you reflect on that?
Well, I think it's helpful. You know, you don't want to be losing these games, quite obviously. They don't define the whole season, which people are suggesting they do. They can do, but I mean, you can't look at it like that. I certainly don't. Been in this division for long enough. We've got 10 games, you know, but the immediate focus is on the next one. That's always been the way we've worked. I thought actually they delivered a performance yesterday. We know they're no mugs. I mean, you look at the players they've brought in, the history of spending there, but it just goes to show you it's still difficult. You know, spend money or don't spend money, it's still difficult in the Premier League, and they're having a difficult season, as are we.
Some of their former players have been saying it's their biggest game for 24 years because they've got a horrible run after that. Are you surprised that they're down there with the money they've spent and the size of the club?
Well, it just goes to show you the strength of the Premier League. When teams have even their strength, financial strength, and the sort of the feel of the club, the history of the club, if you like, having a tough season. You know, it's happened. I remember playing in an era where Man City dropped down 2 divisions. You know, it can happen. It's one of them. I suppose in a way the odd anomaly and marvel of football that it's not that easy. You know, everyone has challenging, or most have challenging seasons. Obviously, there's a group of clubs that generally don't. Although they might drop away a little bit, they're generally up and around it. But it just goes to show you how tough it is. You know, a big club, lots of players there bought in for a lot of money. You know, well thought of manager and managers previous, still having a tough season. But that's the power of the Premier League. I speak of it all the time. It's a very, very tough division.
There'll be a lot of focus on the game. It's live on television. 2 sets of players desperate to stay in the Premier League. Is pressure now something that everybody's got to learn to deal with? Just this pressure of trying to stay in the league at the moment?
Pressure's part of the job. You wouldn't be in the Premier League if you don't know there's going to be pressure with it. So I'm certainly not too worried about that. The focus will be on the team. The focus remains on doing the basics well. The focus remains on the work ethic of the team. The focus remains on all the details it takes to win a football match. So that's a given here. So we'll just be encouraging the players to deliver that, not really worried about anything else.
But it has that strange habit, doesn't it, of causing, I mean, I think the second goal yesterday for West Ham, mistake in midfield. Michael Keane maybe misjudged a tackle. Again, individual errors that can be caused by pressure. It just seems to be highlighted at this stage of the season.
Yeah, you can't define whether that's pressure. That might just be a genuine mistake. So, you know, the difference in pressure is when you get out there, you know, it doesn't feel the same. You know, I played enough football, not Premier League football, I played enough football in some big games. When you're actually out there delivering a performance, you should be going into automaticity, as we talk to the players about it, that automatic flow of the game. You know, how you feel about the game, delivering decisions. Sometimes that gets affected by the edge of confidence that maybe is less than it should be, but usually you're looking for players to get out there and deliver a performance. And with the backing of our fans as well, I think that's makes it a healthier situation in the sense that we've got a real strong alignment here with our fans, and I think that's important for the players to go out and hopefully relax, but play, of course. And it's a professional relax, do you understand? I don't mean like playing down the fields with your mates. I mean that kind of idea. You know the professionalism, you know the structure of the team, but equally you just need that little moment when you can just defocus and deliver a performance. So we want that kind of mixture, and I think our fans can play a part in that.
I guess you and Frank also want those moments of quality. I think you've both talked about that in recent weeks, maybe lacking quality. How do you get those quality moments out of your players?
Well, sometimes you got to work for them to be in the right frame of mind to deliver. You know, tactically at this level, most players know their job. You know, they know the responsibility of their job. Delivering the final moment of quality is often the hardest thing to manage, to coach. Once our job is to get players in the right areas. It's to get the team to work in the right manner, to allow them to obviously defend, but also attack and to make them chances. The final moment of putting the ball in the net, that's the undefinable moment that is very difficult to coach, that moment, you know, especially at this level. He's a mature player, he's been around a long time. I mean, across the Premier League, I mean, you know, young kids, you teach them the actual technical side of the game. At this level, you should know the technical side. It's about the actual moment of delivery.
What's your message, your underlying message been to the players since Saturday?
Really, just to build on the second half. You know, it's a whole different ball game taking on Man City. we hadn't played him in a number of weeks, so I wasn't expecting miracles out of the players. And I think the second half we just got our iron a bit better, tried to play forwards better, tried to affect them better. Which we did to a number of times. They obviously just eased off a little bit because they're top side and they probably felt that they had the game under control, so I'm not over-egging it. But I thought the second half we delivered more what we're about and got on the front foot a bit more, caused a few more problems, a few more troubles for them. And they're a top outfit without a shadow of a doubt. So with all due respect to the rest of the league, you're not always playing them every week.
And in terms of, you've already mentioned it, that the crowd, the fans, just how important are they to you on Wednesday night?
They have been all the time I've been here. After my first 6-7 months, there's been a real alignment, a real respect both ways from myself, the staff, the players, to the fans and the fans back. And they've played their part in our successes here. We need them to carry on doing that. I thought they were terrific again the other day, and they've been terrific home and away all season once again. That's season on season on season. The mentality from the fans has been superb. And I do think it helps players, so I definitely want that to continue. The players have to pay that back as well. They have to play that back by playing well and delivering performances and, of course, getting results. But it's a good platform when a player can go out knowing that the fans are behind him, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean, just on that very same subject, the win against Tottenham, there was a real energy inside the stadium that night. That's what you want again, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it helps both ways. I mean, the oldest argument in football, or one of the many old arguments, is the players do it and the fans respond, or the fans do it and the players respond. Whichever it is, you want that atmosphere. And I agree. I thought Tottenham was at one of them occasions when you could feel it in the air. The atmosphere was right before the ball's even been kicked. The energy of the crowd, the feel of the crowd. And we've had that many times at Turf Moor. And I think that does allow us a better platform to play from. So we certainly respect the fans for being like that.
Obviously, at the moment, you are short of goals. So can you ask any more of your forward players at the moment?
Yeah. Kick it in the net.
But
Not rocket science.
You want that creativity and that intensity.
Well, we've shown that. Even recently down at Brentford, we had chances, one-on-ones and good chances and good movements into the box and opening up good moments. The final moment, as I was just discussing, all managers, all coaches talk about it. That's the moment of execution. That's the toughest bit to coach and manage. It's getting the players in the right areas, doing the right things to allow the team the chances to score goals, and then the final moment is the challenge. And that's where we want our players to stand up and take responsibility, like they have done many times.
Wout Weghorst has only scored 1 in 10. Is his confidence at the maximum level, or does he need any sort of help, or how have you seen his progress?
It's a team game. Every player needs support and help. He's doing very well for us. He's working ever so hard. We've got to also find better chances and quality of chances. Over the season we've been okay, but the last few games, apart from the odd moments, like I said, down at Brentford, I thought we had enough there to get more than we got. We've got to work to earn the chances. Not just for Wout, but there's no way. The whole team can score a goal and the whole team can defend. So, we ask a lot of our players. So it's not just about Wout, J-Rod and Barnsley and these people. It's about all of the team responding to score a goal.
Just on Ben Mee, have you got a timescale or when he might be back?
No, I don't really bother with timescales because you never know. If something goes wrong or sometimes goes right, and they're back before you know it. So we'll just have to keep monitoring the situation. But he's beginning to make progress.
Is he back in sort of full training now, Ben?
No, not yet.
Not yet. But he's on the grass, or?
Yeah, but lightly, softly speaking at the moment with the physios.
And we've just sort of mentioned on about Wout there. Is there still, he's not been here that long in terms of game time, is there still a little bit of an adjustment period, do you think, for him and for the players to sort of know where his strengths lie and how to get the best out of him, perhaps?
Yeah, I think somewhat. It's not so easy. Playing against Man City is tough. It's not just... we all know this. It's not just their technical prowess. They see it quickly. They react quickly. The way they defend as well. They press very quickly. They react to every situation. That's why they're a top side. So again, I'm not expecting miracles out of the teams against teams like Man City, especially after a layoff. But Wout's done well for us, in other games, and he will do. He'll bring other players into the game as well as try and score goals himself. So no, we've been happy with his performances, and his professionalism is outstanding. No two ways about it.
He played up front on his own on Saturday, which is probably the first time he's done that at Burnley since he arrived. How do you think that sort of system worked? Is it one you might look to Wednesday?
Well, it changes.
Forward,
you can see too early. It changes. The whole feel of it changes then, because the idea was to try and quell the game early to get our players' eye in almost again. Because I haven't played in weeks, so it's difficult. We've had a practice game during that period, a couple of practice games actually. But it's not the same. It's not the same. It's hard to replicate Man City, when you're playing against Man City. So. you know, when they score so early, it changed the whole feel of the first half. And then second half, we got a little bit more of a fold. You know, it's still difficult, but we created a few chances, got in behind them a few times and affected them more. But they were just about easing a little bit by then, no doubt of that, because they're a top side, you know, and keeping the ball. So I'm not really over-judging our players on that one, just getting their eye in, ready for the next one.
I know you sort of look at it as there's 10 games, you can get your points wherever, but can you sort of afford to lose this one and not get anything at Norwich and still stay up?
It's a season's work. So at the end of the season, when we look back and reflect, the number of times I've heard that this is 6-pointers, it's the one that defines it, and all the rest of it, and they invariably haven't defined the season. It's a season's work that defines the season. So, you know, the next 10 games are the most important thing, but the first one is Everton, the first one of the 10, so therefore that's the focus.
How have you assessed Frank Lampard and Everton and the job he's sort of been trying to do there since he's
difficult. It's difficult. You know, managers go in and out of jobs and you hear all these things said by the media and they should be doing this, they should be doing that. It's very difficult. You know, there's no two ways about it. You know, I know enough about football management to have total respect for all managers because I know how difficult it is.
Going in mid-season as well, I guess you came here just at the start of the season. I know there's a little bit more games to
Is
go.
that long ago? I can't remember when I came in.
I think it was October, wasn't it, when he came in? But going in mid-season is different to coming in the summer, isn't it? When you've got
in the ideal world, I think every manager would like the idea of getting to a pre-season. I mean, I had to do it here, as you know the story, and you know people weren't overly happy with what happened in the time I first got here, getting to the first pre-season. But then we had a chance to do a pre-season's work, and it all looked different. It doesn't guarantee it, by the way, but I think most managers would prefer the idea of getting a window to work with their players in pre-season before changing things and operating in a different manner. It's tough, you know, as you go in as a manager, everyone's changed. So therefore, you go in as a manager, it's difficult to do what the last manager's been doing exactly the same. So you got to change. And if change doesn't work, they say what you're doing, and you know the usual thing starts. So it's just difficult. It's difficult for all managers going into jobs at any time, but particularly I think during the season. I think it is more difficult when it's during the season. But that's the challenge. You know, jobs change hands at any given time, and if you get a job or you walk into a job, that's the challenge. You've got to take it on.
And just last one from me, regardless of what league you're in next year, whether it's Championship or Premier League, do you sort of see the stability here under the new owners as a good platform to build, whether it's for layering up in terms of recruitment and signings or trying to push on in the Championship or stay up and
well, there's always a bigger picture planning to all ownerships, you know, and I think there still is here. I think, you know, everyone's looking at the reasons why we're here, everyone's analysing that. Then we're looking at performances, then we're looking at what comes next. But the deciding factor is not for now, the deciding factor is in 10 games' time. So pre-planning is always there. It's a constant here because, you know, we've never been in a position to just go, right, stop, stand still, here's 100 million quid, just go and buy what you want. It's never happened. So therefore, it's a constant pre-planning kind of thinking.
Nice one. All the best for Wednesday.
Thank you.